Neighborhood domination. When you think about neighborhood domination, you're trying to dominate the minds of the homeowners. You're trying to basically have omnipresence as the realtor in the neighborhood or real estate team in the neighborhood. Okay, so there's a lot to it, a lot to the branding of it, a lot to your personal image, the success that you're having in real estate, so the storytelling with that. But if you're just getting started and you don't have that, how do you start working towards having the neighborhood domination mindset, the omnipresence mindset? Well, let's give you a list of things to consider or implement fast and quickly in order to start gaining that market share that so many of you desire to have. Neighborhood domination. It does take a lot longer than you would think it would. Most farming campaigns take 8 to 12 months to do it because they're not incorporating a online presence with a mailer presence, with a door-to-door presence of marketing material and storytelling. What are the 3 things that I could do in order to start my farming neighborhood domination campaign? Of course, door knocking with comps and maybe a giveaway in order to start meeting the neighborhoods and draw attention. Now, if you just go one time, they're not going to know who you are. If you drop off comps with your brand on the sheet, they're really not going to know who you are. They're going to appreciate that. You might get into some of those conversations, but it's going to be a slower process than if you did that in combination with a mailing campaign, some success in the neighborhood if you just sold a listing or if you just listed a property. So consider dropping off door-to-door comps when you're starting out. Now, I started out with comps and notepads in order to start getting familiar with, for the homeowners to get familiar with me. I had my picture on it on the notepads. I had 25 sheets of paper, and the objective is to hand out one item and them to see myself as the brand over and over again every time they started using the notepads. Number 2, you can be running your Facebook ads, your video Facebook ads, talking about the neighborhoods, doing walkthroughs, educating the consumer in conjunction with what I just spoke about. Maybe even a download, lead capture form to download a home seller guide, tips to prep your home for sale. That way you're being positioned as the expert in the marketplace, in the neighborhood. And that's another tool that you can start using as pretty inexpensive. Anyways, I think our video cost that we're running is like, a quarter of a penny or something per view. And I think it's a good branding piece in conjunction with other things, not just one thing. You need multiple things. The other thing that you should consider doing is starting a neighborhood or a zip code Facebook group. And if you have a neighborhood Facebook group and there's 500 or 1,000 homes or 2,500 homes or whatever it is, and that neighborhood is branded by a name that the builder used to build community and say, hey, I live in Seville, or I live in Scottsdale Estates, or I live in Fire Mountain. All of those are names in the markets that we service. Then you could also incorporate that into a neighborhood group. You can incorporate that into a postcard going to the neighborhood or zip code that you're servicing to generate interest or generate people from their house looking at the postcard. Oh, I should join this Facebook group. So that's how you're going to drive traffic to the Facebook group. And if you don't know everybody on Facebook and don't have that connection. We've gone over a little bit of mailers. We've gone over a little bit of door knocking / dropping off notepads and comps to their house, which I think is really vitally important, because a homeowner is wanting information. They want educational content. They want to see that the real estate agent's active in the community. And those are precious ways in order to make that happen. Another way to make that happen is how many events, consider this, how many events are you holding every year in those neighborhoods? And if you haven't held any, then it might be a good idea to start holding a couple events. Now, I have friends, I have not done this strategy by itself. I have friends that are doing food trucks, and they're promoting the food truck through postcard and through their Facebook groups for the community. And they're doing a food truck once a month, and they're putting their sign out there. Maybe they're there to meet the neighborhood on a weekday, where a lot of times with life and kids, everybody doesn't necessarily want to cook. So they look forward to going to the food truck and seeing their neighbors, letting the kids run around. And it's been a good strategy for branding and building community. And I think that's a brilliant idea. So consider writing that down. The next thing, mailers. I think that if you are working a neighborhood consistently, sending out mailers is vital to the Omnipresence or neighborhood domination campaign. And that includes the just listed, that includes the just sold, that includes, hey, I'm looking for a specific type of house for a specific buyer that is in your world looking for a home currently, right? So we all have some of those. Hey, if you find this house, then I'm willing to buy in this neighborhood. Well, that is something that should be communicated. And can you do that with a letter? Could you do that with door knocking in the neighborhood? Could you do that with a postcard? And will you have success with that? Well, I don't know 100% if you'll have success with somebody wanting to sell to that specific buyer, but it will show everybody in the neighborhood that you are handling buyers, you're marketing for the neighborhood, and you're the go-to realtor because you already have a buyer. It may not fit their house, but you already have a buyer. That is worth its weight in gold when you're trying to dominate a neighborhood. You want the impression to every single homeowner out there to say, wait a minute, I'm calling Brent Conley, I'm gonna use my name as an example. I'm calling Brent Conley because they had a buyer 2 months ago from that letter, and that guy's door knocked. He's the person on the notepad. I'm in the Facebook group, and they just sold a property here a month ago. So think about all the different ways to dominate the neighborhood with a marketing campaign that's strategic to whatever you want to do. And so these are just ideas to start thinking about implementing it and create your list and go implement some of these strategies. It is a daunting task to send out monthly mailers and try to be creative, but you need a cadence, right? You need something pretty much every month or maybe every 5 or 6 weeks in order to promote something and get that mind share from the local homeowners and renters. I want to say renters as well, because that's something that people overlook, is those renters are in communication with the landlord all the time because they're paying their rent, because there's issues that come up with the housing. And not all the time they're looking for the landlord to solve their problem on the next house they go to, or they're looking for a real estate agent. So pull tax records, figure out who's renting, and start marketing to those renters also. That would be a specific target market letter to those renters, and then a different target market letter to those landlords, because not all landlords have a positive experience in being a landlord. So a lot of times they'll go into landlordship and they'll do it for a year or two, and strategies and life changes for them, and they're going to go ahead and sell those properties. And you want to position yourself as the listing agent for those properties. So that's why it's got to be two different campaigns. So in January, maybe it's a good idea to do a year in review. And what I mean by this, twofold. One, have them get to know you and your personality of like, hey, what did you accomplish in your business this last year? And how can you relate that to what's going to benefit them in the neighborhood? That could be a great strategy to promote. The next piece would be is what did the neighborhood go through, right? And how many sales did they have? What is the appreciation for the neighborhood over the last 12 months? Now, if the neighborhood declined 20%, I don't know if I'd be putting that on there. I'd like to keep it positive. But at the end of the day, think about a year in review letter coming out in January, and that might help you gain more market share, almost a newsletter type. The next one would be, of course, Valentine's Day. You can promote this in the Facebook group as well as in letter form or door-to-door. I think that a lot of people send out different things to their clientele, but if you have specific relationships in those neighborhoods and you have raving fans already, then consider that they should be in a different database, not just what they get, in a normal marketing piece. Maybe you got to go a step further. Maybe you got to go into sending them cookies or cards or something like that because they have purchased a home from you and you want to be top of mind, in addition to all the marketing stuff that you're sending. What you can do is give something for Valentine's Day to the community through your Facebook group. And maybe that's, hey, I have extra reservations for the top 3 restaurants in town that are really hard to get. Matter of fact, they're sold out. And if you're in my farm and I've met you in person, if you're kind to me, you offer me water on a hot day when I was door knocking in the neighborhood and promoting my listings, something to that effect, then I want to give you these reservations. And if you didn't get reservations for your significant other, and I'm your last hope to make you look good, reach out to me. I'd love to give you one of these reservations. That message, that diligent care that you're going to give that neighborhood through your Facebook group is going to echo in time. It's going to be remembered because it's a different strategy than all the marketing out there. All the marketing out there is just me as a real estate agent. How about give them and make them the center of attention? If you serve the audience, if you serve the neighborhood, if you serve everybody's business that's in the neighborhood, guess what? You're going to be top of mind because nobody else is doing that. All right, the next one. How about spring is here or spring is coming? We get excited for spring because after spring, summer's here. A lot of people are doing Easter campaigns, which I love Easter campaigns as well. They're hosting neighborhood egg events for kids and having the Easter bunny come in there. And I love egg hunts, and it's a fun time. But think about an adult egg hunt, right? Maybe there's a new TV that is given away if you find the golden egg. And you could buy a TV for $400. That's a 65, 70-inch TV. And think about how many adults that would love to upgrade their TV or just need a new one or just want to win, right? There's multiple strategies here that you can dominate the mind share and dominate the neighborhood with offering something like that and get community involvement. When you get community involvement and they're going to the local park or in their community and they're like, man, I'm gonna go find that golden egg. Now you have something that's gonna go viral, right, in the neighborhood. They're gonna be like, that Brent Conley is freaking brilliant. I got this TV from them because I showed up and I won. I beat all the neighbors. They get to brag about it. It's kind of cool. So think about that as a strategy of building community for neighborhood domination and omnipresence, right? You want complete mind share if you're going to farm a neighborhood. And let's go on to the next one. Now, how about summer is here? Summer solace. And hopefully you're doing this with a wine and cheese or something that you're hosting an open house in the neighborhood. I think that would be beneficial to you. Also, how about a community learn real estate investing, right? In the summertime, I think that's a good time to start talking about it. I think it's a good time to talk about it all the time. But when are people going to show up? Well, people show up when they have time, right? When the kids aren't in sports and they have a free night. So think about that. We want to always try to tie back things to real estate. How do we get the people that are looking and paying attention to our marketing? How do we get them excited and focused about real estate? And how do we get them to connect real estate with us? Well, we do that with dominating a neighborhood, and we do that with being the go-to expert in real estate to find great deals, to invest in real estate, to help their family member buy a house, to help the business person find a commercial building or sell a commercial building. So think about all those ways that you can tie it back when you're dominating a neighborhood. All right, so how about a back to school campaign? This is huge. We help support a charity, and we've done this for years. We either give them money or we start buying backpacks, and we donate the backpacks with school supplies and stuff for underprivileged kids. And I think that goes a long way. You can get community involvement with your neighborhood for this. And I think that's really important. I think a lot of people out there overlook some of these things that these kids out there are in your communities, right? And I grew up in an area, and I raised my kids in another area that had a very diverse set of people, that some of them were extremely wealthy and some of them were extremely poor, right? And a lot of times you didn't know who's who, which is a good thing in my opinion, because of some of the support that people are giving those families and those kids. I think it's just vitally important for your neighborhood and goodwill all in general. How about something, we've got back to school, the next holiday would be Halloween. Now this is exciting. I used to have 600 people show up for my Halloween party. It was insane. I'm considering bringing it back, but it's a tremendous amount of work for my real estate office. I offered to supply everything, and I just needed their help to put it together. And we did it for years, and it was fantastic. But you can get vendors and people to help you do this, and sponsors. And people love to bring their kids to haunted houses. You could actually have it at your house if you want, if you live in that neighborhood. I had it at an office, and we did a haunted house through my office. And that was a huge undertaking, but it was also super fun because the kids ended up running the haunted house because they just loved scaring each other. It was fantastic. That party is still talked about today. It didn't cost any of my agents any money. They were allowed to bring their sports teams and their friends and family, and it was very big on the community, and it got really big. We didn't continue it because we actually got shut down by the fire department because we had so many people going there, and there was traffic concerns and all of that. So we had to calm that one down, and we'll probably bring it back to a bigger location that's more designed for that, because I think they'll take on a life of their own. And as the 1 or 2, 3 years go by, it gets popular. So you could do this at your house. You could do that for the neighborhood specifically, and then invite your sphere of influence to it as well, and turn your garage into a haunted house, have it in the parking lot, have a block party or something. And I think people would really enjoy that. So think about, how do I dominate their mind in about real estate all the time? And this is the list that I'm giving you to help you do that. All right, so Thanksgiving, a lot of people are doing pies, and that's been going on for years, like 15, 16 years. A lot of people are doing pies that I've seen this. I love it. I think it's a lot of work, and it's not always exciting to do. The biggest thing that we did a gluten-free one, and it was a specific special pie because the health restrictions from one of our clients couldn't eat the regular Costco pumpkin pie or something like that. And they always remembered that. And we actually just sold them a $1.5 million house because of that specialty for them. They actually remembered that. So we had mind share because of notating, the health concerns, right? So anyways, think about that. So the pies are cool. What other things can you do for your neighborhood specifically could you gain notoriety from? And so maybe that is the pies, maybe that is turkeys, maybe that is a food drive for the local homeless shelter. Think about all the ways that you can do that. Put some real thought into it, and I think you'll gain some notoriety from that. Then Christmas time, of course, for years we did pictures with Santa, and that's always a huge success with so many people because they have kids and the kids all want to be at Santa. And if you make it easy for them and it's free, they're going to jump over there. They're going to call their friends. They're going to call their family members. Hey, come over to our house. We're going to have our own party or whatever. We're going to jump over here, get pictures with Santa, and we're going to do our own Christmas thing. And so I think that is a winning strategy to start dominating a neighborhood, is offering that for some of you guys that are working neighborhoods with a lot of kids in the area. So the farming strategies, remember, we're trying to get mind share for being the go-to realtor. And I just spoke about all the fun stuff, but when it comes down to hiring a professional real estate agent for the job of selling their home, it's not always fun, right? They have a lot of stress. They're afraid of making the wrong decision. They're afraid of what the neighbors are going to say. They don't want the neighbors in their house or in their business. And so you have to convey a message that you are fun and you are professional and you are confident in what's going on in the area. So if you're out and about in the neighborhood and somebody is talking negatively about another neighbor, you can't jump on one side or the other. You don't know what's going on. And I've seen that with some of our agents. And so you have to stay neutral, 100% neutral, because it's a small world. Things get out there, right? And so you want to stay 100% neutral and not take sides. Along with, divorces, that's something that you could somehow tell a story, softly, because it's a touchy subject. Hey, so-and-so hired us because they're moving away, and it was a tough negotiation on finding them the buyer and hitting their price, but we raised the property value $5,000, and so-and-so are completely happy. They get to move on to their next destination. So see the neutral side of that. You don't even have to talk about the divorce. Everybody in the neighborhood probably already knows, right? So you just kept it professional. You told your story or whatever, the success and how you solved the problem of selling their house. That can be conveyed in messaging online. That can be conveyed in messaging in print and in person. So just stay away from conversations that involve neighborhood gossip, and otherwise you're going to be the center of attention of so-and-so said this, and that negativity you don't need around your business. All right, this is Brent Conley. I hope this has helped you tremendously. Put something in the comment box or whatever. Send this to a friend of yours, and thank you for watching all the way through. Have a great day.